Chapter 1. Burn Pattern. Silence. Then, flames. A scream muffled by vacuum. A small hand pressed against a viewport. Glass, a shattering of light. Darkness. No signs of life from Athena V. Emergency beacon received. Kaelen family listed among the casualties. 12 seconds. That's how long it took for the shuttle to go from intact to silent debris. 9-year-old Alexus had watched it happen from the docking ring, paralyzed, staring at the inferno that bloomed like a cursed flower outside the station window. Now, at 22, he still dreams about it, every night. Aurora Prime station hung above Earth like a pearl set in invisible wire, gliding through the darkness in perfect orbit. Inside its pristine silver-lit halls, humanity trained its finest to venture into the stars. Alexus Kaelen walked those halls with purpose, on the outside. Inside, every pressurized door hiss reminded him of decompression. Every low rumble of thrust boosters sounded like dying metal. Every time he saw a shuttle leave, his stomach dropped like a falling satellite. But he was brilliant. And brilliance gets you to places. Today, it got him into Mission Deck 9, the final testing chamber for the Prometheus initiative, the first manned flight beyond Mars' orbit. And today, his hands wouldn't stop shaking. "Cadet Kaelen," the voice in his headset crackled. "Telemetry live, begin pre-flight alignment simulation. You're at T-1 minute. His finger hovered over the ignition toggle. It wasn't real, just a sim. But his eyes saw flames, not pixels, not gauges. Hull breach, oxygen loss, structural collapse. Alexus blinked. The control panel in front of him blurred. Sweat collected under his collar. He tried to breathe. He couldn't. "You're not in the shuttle. You're safe. This is the station. This isn't real." "Abort!" His voice broke. "Repeat," came the operator. "I said abort!" He ripped off the neural crown and staggered out of the pod, breathing like a man who'd been drowning. He found himself alone in Observation Bay 12, staring at Earth. Lights flickered softly over the continents. It looked so peaceful from up here. It always did. He buried his head in his hands. Then he heard a voice behind him. "You made the right call." He turned sharply. A girl stood there. No station ID, no cadet uniform, no neural band. She looked out of place in a way that didn't quite register. Her presence felt like she'd stepped out of a different story altogether. Her eyes were storm-colored, her stance too still, as if gravity hadn't finished deciding what to do with her. "Who are you?" he demanded. She smiled faintly. "Nobody yet. You can call me Julia." There was something off about her, not threatening, but off. The way her gaze seemed to track not just his movements, but his thoughts. "You shouldn't be here." "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." She stepped closer, her voice calm, her tone like a mirror. "You think panic makes you weak. It doesn't. It means you remember. People who don't remember are dangerous." Alexus looked away. "How do you know about—" "I saw it. The sim logs, your hands shaking, the vitals spike before ignition, the part where you didn't die." His jaw clenched. She moved beside him and looked out the viewport. "Do you know what happens to people like you, Alexus?" He didn't answer. "They become either heroes or ghosts." His breath caught. Julia looked at him, not like she was studying him, but like she already knew the version of him that came out the other side of this war inside his own mind. "What do you want from me?" he asked. She tilted her head. "To make sure you survive the thing that's coming." "What thing?" She didn't answer. Instead, she reached into her pocket and pulled out a fragment of charred metal, curved, scorched, barely identifiable. This was recovered from the Athena 5 wreckage. His heart stopped. How did you get this? But Julia had already turned toward the exit. They're going to offer you a position soon. On Prometheus, the mission beyond Mars. Alexus stood, trembling. I'm not ready, he said quietly. Julia paused, glanced over her shoulder. No one ever is. Then she was gone. Alone again, Alexus stared down at the fragment she'd left on the ledge. His fingers hovered over it. He didn't need a DNA scan to know it was real. He could feel it. The pain was still there. So was the fear. But for the first time in 13 years, there was also a thread. Not hope, not yet, but a reason to keep going. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Chapter 2. Echoes in Orbit. Alexus stood motionless in his quarters aboard Aurora Prime, staring numbly at the softly glowing digital screen before him. The words hovered silently in mid-air. Official invitation, Prometheus Initiative. He reached out, fingertips passing through the letters as though expecting them to disappear. They didn't. His pulse quickened as memories surfaced, flames igniting in the darkness of his mind. The cold silence of space, his parents' shuttle torn apart before his eyes. He inhaled sharply, forcing himself back into the present. But the anxiety lingered, tightening its grip around his chest. A gentle knock at his door startled him from his reverie. Come in, he said quietly, composing himself. The door slid open softly, revealing Amina Reyes. Her deep brown eyes were filled with concern. She stepped in cautiously, the ambient light catching the smooth curves of her cadet uniform. I heard, she began softly. The Prometheus selection is official. Congratulations, Alexus. He managed a faint smile. Thanks. His voice was barely above a whisper. Amina tilted her head slightly, clearly seeing through his attempt at bravery. Hey, she said gently, stepping closer. It's okay to be scared. Honestly, I'd be worried if you weren't. He looked away, embarrassed. Everyone here wants this. Everyone but me. I should be thrilled, not terrified. You're stronger than your fears, Amina replied, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. That's why they chose you. Maybe being scared is exactly what makes you right for this. He met her gaze, drawing strength from her quiet confidence. You think so? I know so, she assured him, smiling warmly. I've seen you face worse. You don't have to pretend with me. He nodded slowly, the anxiety easing just a bit under her reassurance. Thanks, Amina. Later that evening, as he moved through Aurora Prime's quiet corridors, Alexus caught a glimpse of someone standing quietly in the shadows of the observation deck. It was Julia. Her eyes, reflective like polished steel in the station's soft lights, were fixed directly on him. His heart skipped. Without breaking eye contact, she gave a faint knowing smile before turning and vanishing silently into the corridor beyond. He paused, breathing deeply as her presence left him unsettled once more. Why was she watching him so closely? What did she know that he didn't? Questions swirled in his mind, mingling with the still-present echoes of old pain. But as he stood there, amidst the quiet hum of Aurora Prime's life support systems, Alexus felt something new rise within him, a fragile but determined sense of purpose. He might not have chosen this, but maybe, just maybe, he was exactly where he needed to be. Chapter 3. Hidden Agendas. The main conference chamber aboard Aurora Prime pulsed with anticipation. Projected star maps drifted above the central platform, threads of light trailing from the inner planets to distant dim corners of the galaxy. Cadets, senior scientists, and mission staff gathered in a half-moon amphitheater of glass and steel. At the center stood Commander Ren Calder, his presence commanding attention like gravity. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice firm and deliberate, "we are not alone. 2 months ago, deep-range telescopes and neutrino sensors detected a structured signal, origin unknown, source velocity inconsistent with known phenomena. It's coming from beyond our solar system." A silence fell. Even in a post-scarcity world driven by logic and exploration, those words felt otherworldly. Calder gestured upward. The star map shifted, highlighting a distant system outside the heliopause. "The signal is faint but deliberate, repeating patterns, prime number sequences, time dilation irregularities. This is not a natural source. The Prometheus initiative has been greenlit to intercept the projected vector." Whispers stirred among the cadets. Alexus sat forward, his mind racing. This wasn't just science, it was a leap into the unknown. The room buzzed with quiet tension, a mix of wonder and fear. Then his eyes caught someone standing against the rear wall. Julia. She was silent, motionless, watching him. Her storm-grey eyes were unreadable. As the meeting dispersed, Alexus approached Commander Calder. "Sir," he began cautiously, "why are we the ones being sent? Why now?" Calder studied him a moment. "Because you're the best we have. And because sometimes questions must be answered with action." Still unsatisfied, Alexus turned and found Julia gone. Hours later, he found her alone in one of the training domes, watching a holographic projection of the signal waveform. She didn't look surprised to see him. "You already knew," he said quietly, "about the signal." Julia didn't deny it. "The signal is older than it should be, thousands of years older than the star system it's coming from. It defies causality." Alexus stepped closer. "What aren't you telling me?" She turned to face him. "Your parents. Their shuttle's mission wasn't just a lunar research run, they were tracking something. A pulse. Faint, but similar. The Athena 5 incident wasn't an accident." His breath caught. The world shifted under his feet. Julia stepped closer, voice low. "This isn't about aliens or contact. It's about memory, about what we've forgotten or were made to forget." She looked at him with something bordering on sorrow. "You were never meant to be a passenger in this story, Alexus. You're a keystone." And with that, she vanished into the shadows once again, leaving Alexus shaken, with more questions than ever, and a burning need to find the truth. Chapter 4. Gravity of Memory. The corridors of Aurora Prime stretched out before Alexus like veins of thought, silent, sterile, and endless. His boots made no sound on the magnetic floor, but the weight in his chest echoed louder with each step. Julia's words wouldn't leave him. The Athena 5 incident wasn't an accident. His parents hadn't died because of failure. They had died chasing something hidden, something erased. He arrived at the psychological evaluation wing, the last step before departure. A curved door slid open, revealing a room unlike the rest of the station. Soft walls, warm light, and no humming machines, just calm. Dr. Mira Jensen sat waiting. She was older than most aboard the station, dressed simply in grey and white robes. Her face was lined, not with age, but with experience, like she had helped many minds bend and return without breaking. "Alexus," she said gently, "you know why you're here." He nodded and sat. Jensen activated the cognitive resonance matrix above his seat. Threads of neural activity lit up the air like constellations. With a delicate motion, she pulled on one strand, and the shuttle fire bloomed. Alexus tensed. The room fell away. The fire roared silently, his mother's eyes, the soft panic, the goodbye pressed into glass, his own screams swallowed by vacuum. His breathing grew sharp. Jensen placed a hand on his shoulder. "Let it come. Let it pass through." The memory ripped through him, and then it was gone. He opened his eyes, blinking through tears. "They told me it was mechanical," he whispered, "but now I know. They were chasing the same signal. They found it first." Dr. Jensen didn't question it. She only asked, "And what does that make you?" He looked at the flickering thread above him. "Their continuation." For a long moment, Alexus remained seated, staring into the glow of the flickering memory thread. The light shimmered like a heartbeat, pulsing with echoes of something older than pain, something closer to purpose. He clenched his fist gently, feeling the tension bleed away. He wasn't lost anymore, not entirely. Dr. Jensen had quietly stepped back, giving him space. "Whatever you're about to do," she said, "do it with your eyes open. The past is behind you, but it's still guiding you." Alexus stood slowly. The world felt different now, sharper, heavier, but also more real. He no longer felt like someone trying to escape memory. He felt like someone who had inherited a thread worth following. Outside, in the hangar promenade, Jaden Leung waited casually, tossing a protein pack from one hand to another. He and Alexus had trained together during orbital flight simulations, their rivalry sharp but grounded in respect. It was Jaden who once pulled Alexus from a decompression mishap during a harsh zero-G drill. "You look like someone dug through your skull." Alexus gave a dry laugh. "Feels about right." Jaden leaned back against the railing. "You ever wonder if we're too young for this?" "All the time," Alexus said, "but my parents weren't, and they never came back. So now it's me." That night, in his private quarters, Alexus decrypted a hidden folder in his parents' final mission logs. The waveform was there, ancient, haunting, almost identical to the one Prometheus would soon follow. Not an echo from the stars, an echo from the past. He wasn't just chasing a signal, he was following them.